told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
In this corner, the 4 men who are trying to control the narrative and just trying to get through this with the best optics possible. It's the Married at First Sight Season 17 Husbands.
And in this corner, we have the 4 women who are taking their power back, who are tired of the lies, manipulation, and control, who are determined to take down these men if it's the last thing they do. On Wednesdays, they wear pink. The Married at First Sight wives.
And as special referees for this bout, the 2 people who just want to get the hell away from these other toxic people, Michael and Chloe. Yes, folks, we are here to talk about the Married at First Sight Season 17 Reunion Special Part 1. And listen, it was a bout that was promised to be for the ages. Your mileage may vary on whether or not you felt like that was the case or not, but we're going to break it all down. I am one of your judges for the fight. Jason Reed, with me, my co-judge, Aysha Welch. Aysha, how are you?
Hey, Jason, I'm doing well. I don't know how we're going to score this fight. I have never been involved with a fight before, so I'm new to this. I do have to admit, while watching this episode, I developed a headache. Like when I tell you I was perfectly fine when I hit play, start the episode. Yay, I'm so excited for this entertainment. 15 minutes in, headache starts to form. And I'm like, what is happening?
Was it from all the fumes you were ingesting as you being gaslit? Was that what it was? Was that the problem?
That has to be what it was. I said, what is this for? What are y'all doing? When you go into an argument, there has to be a purpose. There has to be an outcome you want. It just felt like at every turn, someone was arguing with someone and just didn't know where the destination was.
It was word vomit. It felt like they came in here with a plan, and then they just, as Mike Tyson said, you always come into the ring with a plan to get hit in the face. And it was just like when they had their moment, it was just like they just want to get everything off their chest at once, and they couldn't really organize their thoughts. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just high level. Brennan tries to apologize. What? You don't even know what you're apologizing for, Brennan. What are you talking about? Then Austin won't respond. You know, Austin, I'm just so mad at you. She wanted him to fight back so bad. So bad. And it was, and we didn't even get Lauren and Orion this episode. So you already know that's going to be a mess.
That's going to rile you up next week.
Oh,
I'm excited for that.
Before the episode, I'm going to take an Excedrin migraine to prepare myself.
Pre-game. You're going to pre-game for the episode.
Yes, because I can't. What is this? What have we come to?
And, you're going to come into this with a lot of different expectations. Now, I would say this probably met my expectations. I did not expect anyone to come in here and to be honest, to be real, to be like, yeah, I was pretty effed up, huh? Like I was pretty terrible. I didn't expect that. I feel like we got some good nuggets. We got some good things that we never heard before, but honestly, a lot of it was stuff we were already hearing on the after parties and throughout the season. So I do hope part 2 brings a little more fireworks. But I don't know what we're going to get.
I think for part 2, I'm most excited to hear the experts perspective on how awful this like I really need them to understand how awful like the results of the season.
You need them to own up to their mess.
Yes, like own up to you can't just match someone because they're sweet and the husband said he needs somebody sweet.
But I think the problem with that is that they got an escape hatch from this cast with them saying, "Yep, we had a plan going in." Now the expert's going to come on next week and be like, "Well,
What can
we
you
can
do?
we can only
Can't stand
match
for
them.
that."
They messed it all up. They screwed themselves," as Kevin said several times during this episode. You screwed yourselves. That
Yeah. Pepper or Cinnamon was barking in her sleep. But that tells you how much she barks while she's awake. She's but yeah, you're so right. They're literally going to use that to try to explain away like there's only so much you can do. We can't prepare for that. We can't prepare for people to try to game the system.
like, well, you don't know if you were a good match or not because you didn't give it a try. On the on the second night, you're figuring out how to bamboozle the cameras, so you didn't even give it a shot.
So ridiculous. Oh my gosh. But we're going to get into all the nitty-gritty. But make sure you go subscribe to Love at First Sight feed. We can get all of our podcasts for a perfect match. We have been on a 2-week hiatus because we did not podcast last week about the Cast Tell All. We both did watch it.
Yeah.
I
I think the biggest thing is the thing that everyone's talking about coming out of that is Doug from season 1 mentioning that in their in their matchmaking process, they did get to see pictures of people and they were able to pick out in these pictures what they were attracted to, and then you come to find out that in this I don't know if you want to call it a lineup of mugshots, I guess, were littered in those pictures were actual people they were considering for the cast, so they were able to pick out what they're attracted to, and maybe that would be like, oh, okay, so that he is attracted to that person, so that would be a good match, considering everything else might be a good match for this person. And everybody on the panel, everybody else is kind of everyone else besides Jamie and Doug were more new school Married at First Sight. So they're just like, hey, why did they do that for us? Like, we would have really appreciated that. Like, we would have dug that because they don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
I think,
Sasha was like, they asked me my celebrity crush.
Yeah. And I mean, so I think that's a good idea. I think maybe we should go back to that. There is a little thing of like, what if you say this person's attractive in this lineup of people, they end up being cast, but not as your wife, and someone else's wife, like, oh, this is awkward. I picked your photo out of a lineup saying that I was attracted to you, but you're married to some other guy.
I mean, that welcomes you into the real world of the fact that there are other people. Like it doesn't just turn off when you get married that you will find other people good looking,
Yeah.
So
I guess it's definitely a tool.
Self-control.
Yeah. It's a tool we should go back to using. I think it would be a good idea. It would also give you a good idea of what the person is attracted to physically. I think you can say what you're attracted to, but actually seeing what someone's attracted to would do a lot to kind of inform you.
Yeah, I would love for them to do that. And then it could easily be, okay, we're going to show you 200 people, and if you have to pick 20. And then if you don't pick the person they want to match you with, then it's a wrap. Do not match them with them, because if they didn't make top 20, then like
This is American Idol.
Do you still watch American Idol?
I don't. I haven't watched American Idol in at least a decade. I don't know.
Okay. My mom watches.
Yeah, I mean,
she said it comes on every Sunday and Monday.
Not to get into an American Idol tangent, which I guess we're gonna do. But it used to be a showcase of the singers. I feel like now it's all about the judges and who the judges are. Like I could not name you an American Idol winner in the last 10 years.
Growing up, oof,
Yeah.
I was all about it. Listen,
if there are any other MAFS Singer fans out there, there may or may not be 2 people from a early season of American Idol on MAFS Singer. We don't know yet. They haven't been unmasked.
Oh, you're guessing?
I'm guessing, and it's been pretty like, we know who you are. So I mean,
right.
listen, MAFS Singer spoilers potentially.
I remember Oh, are you're gonna
I'm gonna say
go
it.
there?
It's
Okay.
a it's a pair of people that they have in mass that are singing
Mm.
together,
Uh-huh.
and my wife called it out immediately, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" I think she'd actually gotten some Reddit spoilers, but that's neither here nor there. She definitely cheats on the Mass Singer in our little competition, but don't tell her I
Yeah,
told you.
I definitely look on Twitter, but that's just because I don't watch it consistently.
Yeah, she's like, "That is Ruben and Clay from season 2." And I was like, because she was like,
Oh.
do you hear it? And I was like, no, I can't get it. And then when she told me and we rewound it, I was like, oh, yep, that is definitely them. It was, and the clue package, once you figure that out, is like so obvious, like, oh yeah, that's Ruben and Clay. And they
Mm.
sound great.
Oh,
Um,
good for them.
Old school American Idol fans, that's a little nugget for y'all.
You
But
remember Sanjaya
oh Lord,
Malakar?
that
Oh,
that was in the like downturn of American Idol. That was the last stage of the American Idol
he has a
relevancy.
TikTok. He's
I'm
been
sure he
posting.
does. I'm sure you're all over it. I'm sure
I
you are.
loved his hair. But yes, I when I was really into Mass Singer when I knew it was Tiana Taylor
Uh-huh.
when she won. Yeah, when she won, I was like, I know that voice anywhere.
It's just not as big as it used to be because I think they used up all the good celebrities like who you would
Yeah.
know. Like
Yeah.
there was one person on there this a couple weeks ago was like a judge from MasterChef. Now, me and my wife watch MasterChef, so we knew
Yeah.
who that was. I was like, the
But does
general viewing public is
everybody? Yeah.
not gonna know who that is. So it's like you can't guess who the celebrity is if you have no idea who the celebrity is once you get unmasked.
Yeah.
So I think they used up a lot of their star power in the early seasons. So it's a little
Uh-huh.
less exciting now because it used to be in the early seasons of Mass Singer, it would be all over the internet. You have to avoid
You
spoilers
have to
for
avoid, yeah, you
yeah,
literally have to avoid spoilers.
and
Now
now
it's
no one
you literally
cares.
gotta find it. It's
Yeah,
deep.
yeah, no one cares now.
I'm like, okay, hashtag Mass Singer Fox. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh un
yeah, you gotta dig deep.
unmasking. Finally, there it
Yeah,
is.
there
Now
we
I
go.
see because I did see who got revealed this week. But
I don't
I
think
won't spoil that for anybody in case
I
people
mean,
want to
listen,
see it.
we can get a whole like we could we already spent too long
Yeah,
on Mass
guys,
Singer.
welcome to our pre-show talk.
If you want real Mass Singer coverage, there is a Mass Singer podcast
Right.
on our network. So go check that out with Puya and Liana. They unfortunately don't allow guests on that podcast, so I guess I'll never be invited. But whatever. Um,
I'm gonna send them this clip.
yeah, we
Like,
should.
see, we have good takes.
We know what we're talking about. We're experts. Well, let's get to the show we are actually meant to be talking
Yes,
about
married
here.
at first sight, y'all.
Yes.
Okay, make sure you go leave us a 5-star rating
Yeah.
review. That's where we were.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Love
We're in the order.
Subscribe to Love at First Sight feed. Leave us a 5-star rating review. We actually have a couple that we are going to highlight from Canada because we don't have any right now from the US in the Apple Podcast feed to highlight. So come on, y'all, send them in. The first one I want to highlight is from Gigi1410. It says, "Love your podcast. I love to listen to your podcast. It's very entertaining. Keep up the good work." Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Gigi. The one I'm going to do is entitled "A Perfect Duo" from T Dishes. It says, hilarious yet serious when needed. Aysha and Jason are indeed a perfect match. Even astrologically, Libra and Aries are sister signs, and they have a chemistry together which is rarely found in the pod world. Jason also lets me clown him often in our Facebook group, which I very much enjoy. Brava. I can only assume that this is Timaz from who is an avid contributor to our Facebook group, who is our investigative journalist, really
Yes,
on our Facebook group, who
our
gives us
social
all the
media
tea.
correspondent.
Yeah, who gives us all the tea that's out there. I mean, no pun intended.
I didn't
But
know you
yes,
were a Libra.
I am. Birthday's in
Yeah,
October 7th. So mark that down in your calendar.
I don't know anything outside of Aries. I'm an Aries.
I don't know my sun, moon, whatever you call it, rising thing.
Right.
I'm too ignorant for all that.
Yeah, what's your
Um,
big three?
yeah, I have no idea, no idea.
Well,
Um,
apparently we're sister signs. So,
yes. So thank you so much, Steve, for letting us know that
yeah,
we are astrologically compatible. I guess that's why this works so
right.
well. Um, so yeah, thanks for the reviews. Like Asia said, keep them coming. We need some new ones to fill up the mailbag before we shut this whole thing down for the season. And wait
Yes.
until we get our new season. A couple, yeah, I don't know. They have still have to
We
get a
still,
date for
yeah, we
next
still
season.
don't have the premiere date, but
Yeah,
um make sure you go join the Facebook group. We have a lot of fun in there. We talk about the episode. That if you have no one else to talk about Married at First Sight with, come to the group. There's so many people you could talk about it with.
This discussion this week was jumping. We got over 100 comments on the thread this week, which usually it taps out around 60 to 70. So we were in there having a hoot and hollering time last night talking about this episode.
People had thoughts. Okay, so go look up A Perfect Match podcast on Facebook, and this week the password is
stick with the plan. We had a plan coming in here, like
Claire
into this season. Yeah, Claire's snitching on everybody.
Right.
This is a bunch of snitches over here.
You're not supposed to talk about the group chat out loud.
Bunch of snitches, man.
Oh gosh. But yeah, we have a lot to run through. There's a lot of dialogue. So we're just we're doing it like normal, gonna give you the best bits, but that's at least how I'm gonna do my sections. It's just it was so much back and forth. I didn't have to. I've never had to. I mean, I'm sure I have before, but this episode I had to pause so much just to keep capturing what was. There was so much back and forth. But yeah, Jason, kick us off.
Yeah, so this week we come in. Everyone's been talking about this seating arrangement ever since we saw the preview for the reunion. We've got the men and Chloe on one side, and then we have the women and Onion on another side. Important to note, Lauren and Onion are on opposite ends of the line and on their side of the conversation. Michael and Chloe are together on their side of the line, and there's the men on that side. So it was very interesting. We did get the ladies in pink, 4 of the ladies in pink wearing their pink.
Chloe was in purple.
Chloe was in purple, we'll talk about that, but that's interesting. So we get everything kicked off. Kevin, of course, he has to ask the normal intro questions. Hey, so what do you guys talk a lot? Are you still in contact with each other? The ladies, of course, the ladies in pink are all about it. Like, we talk every day. I forgot who it is.
Emily and Becca.
Emily and Becca are now neighbors, so they talk all the time, every day. The guys, not so much. They're like,
I'm surprised they didn't say we're roommates.
Well, the dudes, the bros.
No, Emily and Becca.
Emily, oh yeah, I'm sure.
Why not?
I would be surprised they got a house where all 4 of them can just be there together, just blah, 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 all day and all night. Yeah. But the guys are not so much into each other. Like, yeah, we talk a little bit in the group chat. Austin's like, yeah, not really. He does talk to Michael a lot. I actually feel
like we don't talk that much.
So Onion, again, you're wrong. Oh, right. But Austin say, well, I talk to Michael a lot, and sometimes we hang out with Cam. Meanwhile, we don't ever talk to Brennan. We don't invite Brennan anywhere. This is the first time I've seen Brennan since, I don't know, the pizza party. Like, it's the first time I've seen this guy. So,
wait, I thought Brennan and Orion were besties.
Yeah,
they fix things for each other.
You don't need a little light put up, Brennan. We checking with Cameron about his whole health scare. He says, yeah, I'm okay. Like, he says, yeah, I was able to get back on the bike this past summer, so everything's good. Emily, we found out, is doing well. Everything's healing up. This is the first day that she doesn't have her cast. Like, whoa, yay, Emily, woo! I did see that. Apparently, this was shot back in December.
Yes.
So that was interesting.
And the weddings were like February, March timeframe of last year. So what a year for her. Because during the 8 weeks had that accident, and then she had to wear a cast on her hand for months.
Yeah, so lots going on with Emily. So we finally...
She said, thank God for plastic surgeons and Botox.
Amen. We find out the burning question we've been asking this whole season. We're watching After Party. All the ladies, except for Chloe, wear pink every time they're on After Party, and Kevin just says, all right, what's going on with the pink? And honestly, it was kind of a wah answer. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, we're just standing strong on our female power, and we just want to prove that we're more than characters on a screen. I said, okay, I didn't really think you were just that, but you go off. Go off.
I thought it was because on Wednesdays they wear pink. Mean Girl.
Yeah, no Mean Girl reference in sight.
Right.
So Chloe says, so Kevin says, so Chloe, I noticed you're not wearing pink. What's going on? Chloe says, well, I didn't really get a chance to bond with the other ladies, like I like we would have wanted to, because I came in so late. It says, but I do, I do like that they are standing up for female empowerment. I said, I want to know the real story. I want to know the real, because I feel like it is notable that she's not sitting with the other ladies, because they could have really easily made this guys, girls.
Yeah.
And she made the decision she makes the decision all the time not to wear pink. Yes. And I just feel like I don't think they would have excluded her from wearing pink, because it's not about you came in this with us. It's about us being women together.
Right.
So I just want to know where the disconnect is. Is Chloe deciding y'all are too much? I'm not with all this. I don't stand for your version of female empowerment or your version of what y'all are doing, so I'm just going to distance myself? Or is it the ladies being like, this is a different, you think the ladies have a group text, pink ladies, and just boop, take Chloe off the group chat?
Well, for sure they have a group text without Chloe, I would think, because I would feel like they would have had it before. And then do you think
you still have a group text to Mystery Woman X from like they established it on the bachelor party?
Like this is what, if I'm thinking how us women work, they would have had the group with the 5 with Mystery Woman X. She says no, or she walks away from the altar. She gets removed. Mystery Woman X removed from conversation. They keep this. They become the ladies in pink. This is strong. This one's active every day. Then, Chloe. Okay, we're going to create a new one with Chloe. That one gets traction a little bit during the season.
They feed Chloe some breadcrumbs every now and then. Like, we'll put this in the Chloe chat. We can do that. But,
right. Like Lauren might put something motivational in there, because that's what she's been doing with them, But that one probably gets action once every other week. It's not popping. You got to scroll to get to it. It's not at the top. But that pink ladies, that's in their favorites. Like, that's always at the top.
It's always at the top. It's always popping.
As a big circle, pink ladies, they have an icon, I'm sure, of something. And
for Aysha, that would probably be like the 15th conversation down. For me, it'd be like the second probably, because I don't, not it's not popping for me.
Do you have any texts that are like favorited at the top? You can do that, right?
I don't even know what you're talking about right now. I have no idea.
Like in a text message, you have your conversation, or it says like messages, and you can put someone at the top.
Are we doing a live how-to right now on how to favorite?
Yes, because this doesn't make sense. Basically, you have a person that, like, that conversation is always at the top.
So I'm on my wife's thread. How do I do that?
Okay, perfect. So if you hold on to the name, like, and you should see pin as the first option. Okay, pin it.
Yep.
And then she'll always be at the top.
Oh, it doesn't even show me like the conversation. It just has her little bubble and her picture.
Yeah, but when she sends you a text, you'll see a little bubble pop up with what the message says.
Oh, okay, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you favorite text messages. We should strip that out of the podcast and make it as a little instructional how-to video.
Nice how-to, yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
But yes, so some people have a lot of conversations pinned. I only have 6. A couple of group chats, mom.
Am I pinned?
Of course.
Let me see your phone. I'll be like, Becca, let me see your chat.
Let me see. Open it up.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, yeah. So Chloe's like, yeah, I'm just, I just wasn't part of it, but I do admire them for standing up for female empowerment. Blah blah blah. She's like, but is that to say you don't stand up for female empowerment because you're refusing to wear pink, Chloe? Like,
see, I think it's more so, rather than Chloe being anti what they're trying to, like, not anti woman empowerment, or anti how they feel about the men. I think it's more so, look, I'm a neutral party. That's y'all's experience. I have nothing to do with that. I feel like that's the position.
My name Bennett, and I ain't in it. Okay, right. That's y'all's thing.
He was like, I'm disassociating myself with that.
Mhm.
But love that for you. I love it. And I'm for it, but I'm
Yeah,
over here. I'm
yeah.
not
I'm
about to
I'm
look
I'm
like I'm a
in.
part of that.
Yeah, I'm not in that.
I think
Um,
it's simply that. I don't know
yeah,
if there's a big falling
yeah,
out or anything, because she was even comforting Emily before Emily came out
yes.
to do her Brennan section.
Yeah, I did notice that. She got, I don't know if I was would really like to hear more about the dynamic between Chloe and the other ladies, because I can
Hmm.
never really get a good read on it. Like how do they all integrate? Because it almost feels like she could be like a den mother to these women, right? Because she is, I mean, she is older than all of them. I think she's
Hmm.
38 and they're like, early 30s, but it's not
Right.
like she's the mother of the group. I don't know. I just want to
Right.
know more about that dynamic. Um, 'cause you do get the vibe that she's like so much more mature than most of them, most of them
Yeah.
I'll say, besides maybe Lauren, um,
Hmm.
but then most of them, because she was giving Emily that pep talk before she went out there. Um,
Right. So yeah, I don't think there's any bad blood.
yeah.
They're just not besties.
There was that thing on an after party a while ago where they're like, "You see Lauren roll her eyes at Chloe," but I don't know if that was
Yeah.
really anything substantial.
Right. And
Um,
also just like Emily, but Emily has an attitude
Emily
all
hates everybody
throughout
at this
after.
point,
Yeah, for
except for
sure.
Becca and Claire and Lauren. Like she hates everyone
Yes.
else, including hosts. She hates everybody.
Yes.
So Kevin does say, this is the first time in the history of MAFS that the exes have refused to even sit together. We had to get individual chairs for y'all because usually we have y'all on couches, but we had to get individual chairs because y'all refused to sit next to each other. So it's the first time that's ever happened. Becca says, a lot happened on and off cameras, and the husbands are so concerned. They're more concerned about optics than the marriage. But the optics are still part of the picture, so there's not trust there yet. They're still worried about their optics so much. Kevin notes the tension. Emily says there's a lot unresolved. The husbands have not taken accountability. Brennan and Cameron hid and ran away. Oh really? Oh really? How did I run away? How did I run away? How did I run away? My camera's very rusty. How did I run away? Emily's like, well, you ran away emotionally because she didn't want to
He's
say
like,
you ran. She didn't want to say you ran away because you weren't there. He's like, I had a heart condition. Excuse me. He says, you ran away emotionally. You put Claire in a very vulnerable spot. Cameron, they say, and Lauren speaks up. She says, listen, I know I can vouch for all this because Cameron pulled me aside and said, hey, I know a way to get out of this. Claire, he said it to me too. He said it to me too. He said it to me too. I know. I heard it too.
what was I needed? This was the start of, okay, you're saying this. Cameron's not necessarily like disagreeing that he's not, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not saying that they're lying about
He's
that.
not denying it. He's not
He's not
denying it.
denying. That's the word.
Yeah, that's the word you're looking for. I was getting some very complicated word. I was like, maybe we just pare it down and say denying. But no, that was the word you're looking for.
It's a simple word. It's not accepting.
I was
He's
like
not
possible
denying.
deniability or something. He's like, no, I'm just looking for deny.
Yeah, deny. Declining kept coming in my head. But he's not denying it. So I'm like, okay, what was your thought? Why were you saying this? Because I feel like it's so hard to decide what to believe throughout this whole thing, because everybody's having these opposing things that they're saying. But I do believe that he did this.
Oh yeah, I mean, he pretty much admits he did it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a roundabout way, which is what a lot of these people are doing. They're saying things in roundabout ways. Like I didn't say that exact thing you said, but
Yeah, you forgot the.
I kind of sort of said it. I didn't say the exact thing you just said.
But what
So,
I'm wondering is, like, what was his plan? Like, okay, I know a way we can get out of this. We can argue on camera, but what's the thing? Like, what's the point? To be on TV and like make money without having to be married? Like,
well, I think again, it's the optics thing. Like, I don't want to look like a bad guy for saying that you're not attractive to me. So we'll figure something else out.
mm,
But yeah, apparently Cam did tell Claire that there was no attraction. Cam says, no, I never said that. I never said that. Never said it. Becca talks about, the girls have been lied to for so long, but we all know the truth here. I did find something interesting where Emily brings up deleting diary cams. she goes, "Yeah, Brennan made me delete diary cams." He's like, did I make you delete them, or did I ask you to delete them? She's like, "Well, it's pretty much the same thing. You came into my room and said you weren't going to go to sleep until I deleted them." So I'm like, that is unhinged behavior. Like, I really need to see these diary cams. There's got to be some way you can pull this deleted footage from those cameras.
Look, the way that the Nest camera situation in the apartment for Becca later to say, "Oh, you plugged it in."
That's interesting.
Why are they unplugged?
That's interesting.
They should all be plugged in every apartment.
They should have zip ties on the plugs so you can't pull them out. There should be some kind of system involved so it's impossible to unplug them.
It's like band trips in high school. They would put tape on our door so they would know if we left our hotel rooms. So it's like, put tape on it, and if the tape has been tampered with, they unplugged it.
The band nerds are getting up their shenanigans again. Oh no, the band nerds have escaped. They went to go to some museum or something. Whatever will we do?
I walked right into that.
You did. You really did. So Kevin asked Brennan, Brennan, did you deliberately hold things back, delete things? Brennan says, listen, we had private lives. You just want to keep stuff private. Kevin says, now listen, you have private lives, but you're on a public show. So this is where Brennan says, listen, we didn't want to give producers the ability to control the spin or control the narrative. So we all got together, came up with a plan to make us all look good. And we all agreed to it. The ladies, when they hear that, like, no, that's not a thing. Brennan says, well, now you didn't say no at the time, and now you're putting it all on the guy, saying it's all our fault. He says, we were all trying to navigate production. Becca says, well, the problem is that the optics took priority over the marriage. Y'all were concerned about your social media followers and building your business. I was like, oh, I want to hear more about that. Who was? Name names, Becca. Name names. I can only assume that the building your business was Cameron.
Yeah, because it's a bicycle business.
He's the only one that had a business. I honestly just don't see.
What about Orion's light bulb business?
I don't see Brendan or Austin doing this to build social media followers. I just don't get that vibe off of either of them. I
get that vibe from Brennan, not Austin, because Brennan reminds me of Ryan. Like, not the most exciting guy, but would think that, it'd be really cool to get some followers.
You think he's Ryan level thirsty? Because Ryan from Houston,
I would not be surprised. I mean, look who he was. I wonder, are they still dating? Remember, he's
the girl from Love Is Blind.
Yeah, Stacy.
I don't know.
From Love Is Blind.
I don't know. I don't know.
If I ever run into them, I'll let you know since they are in Houston.
Please do. Please text it to me immediately.
Remember, I already ran into him at a
and you
workout place,
and you wouldn't take one for the team and try and get a date.
It was too early.
Whatever, man. Not a team player.
Nobody wants anybody approaching them at 6 a.m.
Whatever. But yeah, I don't know who the social media person is. We kind of get an admission from Onion that he did this for other reasons as well. So Kevin's like, all right, guys, who raise your hand if you came here for marriage? and Lauren's like, well, listen, everyone's gonna say they were here for marriage except for Onion. So this gets the attention turned to Onion. This goes, Onion, were you here for marriage? Lauren says, nope. She says, on day 2, he told me that he applied for selfish reasons, and those reasons were to highlight his community of Indigenous people to the world, and it made Lauren feel like she was a consolation prize. Orion says, I'm sorry, Onion says, that's a lie. That's just lies that are being said here today.
I just love the way lies are going around.
Yeah. I don't want to piggyback that vibe now, do you, Onion? He's like, I told you I had never had this platform before, and I was excited to showcase our story for the world. Lauren's just like, whatever, rolls her eyes at him. Now attention turns to Austin. Austin, did you come here for marriage? He says, yes, I came here for a marriage. I
Like
didn't come
someone's
here.
gonna these questions. Like someone's
Right.
gonna say no.
Waste
I
of time.
didn't.
He says, I came here for marriage, not for cameras. Becca says, oh, yeah? Is that why you plugged up the cameras to get our conversation about optics? He says, well, he did that to show some of the stuff that they were talking about behind the scenes. Now, I was very surprised, number one, that they can, as you said, they can just unplug the cameras all willy-nilly. And number two, that Austin is the one that plugged up the
Yes.
cameras to get the conversation. I was shocked
I
about
said,
that.
my how the tables have turned. I would have thought it was Becca.
Yeah, I need to, there has to be some kind of setup we can, that the producers can see that they can be like, apartment 3 has been unplugged. Go and make sure they plug their cameras back up. It's got to be something, you know. And
literally, no. I have a camera in my living room, and anytime I unplug it, just because where it's at, I be needing the outlets.
Aysha, what you doing that you need to go
I need to charge my laptop. It's a very convenient outlet, but it's only 2, and I don't have a extension cord there. Oh my gosh!
I don't know what activities Aysha is doing that can't be caught on camera, but leave that to your own imagination.
My point is that when I unplug it, I get a notification on my phone that says the living room camera is offline.
Yeah.
So they know.
Don't be letting these people do this. Don't come on now. We need to see this. That's why we haven't got any. We got barely any Nest camera footage because they keep unplugging them all willy nilly. Can't be letting them do that. No, cannot let them get away with that. Add that to the list of notes, producers. We cannot let them unplug the cameras.
Right. Goodness.
So basically, Kevin is getting on the ass. He's like, listen, y'all tried to outsmart the show, and that's where things mess up. He says, we just want authentic experiences. We don't want, curated things. We want to know the real things going on. Emily says, well, Cameron is the one that was the mastermind of all this. And that's where Lauren says, yeah, he said it to me too. Claire says, listen, we didn't have any options when it came to going along with this plan. She says, Cam was the puppet, and I was, and she said, oh, I was the puppet, and Cam was the puppet master. Like, Cam and Brennan are like 2 peas in a pod here. Like, oh, you see, Freudian slip. She said the thing that she meant. She said it. Like, all right, you 2 children,
right?
Yeah, but Cam begins to explain. He says, well, listen, first of all, this is my first experience being gaslit. Okay. All right. Now, we've been really pro Cam on this podcast for the past 2 months. Listen,
Cameron is a mastermind. He knows exactly what he's doing in this moment. He knows exactly how to get under her skin. He knows he's just as bad as Claire.
Yes, 100%. Cameron is a snake oil salesman if you've ever seen one. And Cam says, listen, I've been gaslit, okay? They asked me to take the lead. And Claire says, no, I was just manipulated by you. Okay. Cameron says on the wedding night, he and Claire had a conversation about what they wanted and whether or not they got what they wanted. He says, in Cameron's version of this, Claire said that she did not get what she wanted. Cameron says he got what he wanted, but she didn't get what she wanted. And then on the second night of the honeymoon, she told him that she was still in love with her boyfriend. And he says, yes, I say boyfriend because it was still active. And he says, and right before the wedding, you were effing him. This leads to a commercial break. And we're all like, whoa. Everyone is like, whoa, what? What's going on? What's happening? So we come back and pretty much Claire's just like, no, that's not true. It's a lie. Now there's many different responses we get from this tell-all about things that are said. It's either it was misinterpreted, right? Which is one thing, or I just didn't say that. That's just a lie. Right. I can't have this. It's just a lie. There has I don't think he made that up out of nowhere, or just cry. Yeah. They can't he can't just have made that up out of thin air. what do we, because Claire's thing is, well, I know we were talking about my ex-boyfriend, and I told him that, the last time I was in love was a year ago, and it ended a year before filming. I said, now that's really tough to misconstrue a year and
Right.
right before the wedding. So I feel like something's fishy, something's going
Like, was
on.
it that, oh, yeah, we broke up like a year ago, but we've kind of been on and off again since then? And what context are we missing? Because she's obviously telling us what will paint her in a better light,
Yeah.
but it just can't, like, unless Cameron is just that diabolical, he's
But
just
he's
telling
just
flat out lies.
flat out lying, just taking anything out in there and just throwing it out there to see what will happen.
Because this,
Honestly, after their individual segment, I wouldn't put it past him, because
oh, yeah, for sure.
what he did in their individual segment blew my freaking mind. But we'll talk about that
Yes.
when we get there.
Yes.
But
But
now I'm not sure.
literally, yeah, I honestly think it's because they're the only couple where it's no, that just didn't happen. Like
Right.
everyone else is like, there's some type of perspective that we're like, okay, I can see how like
You
he didn't
misinterpreted
understand.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like things are misinterpreted or whatever. Which I thought was the case because we had that like slender comment where
Yes.
she's like,
Mhm.
oh, and he's like, no, I think it's a good, I think you're slender. And she's like, well, I don't think I am.
Oh boy.
So I feel like, okay, I thought, oh, okay, it's just misunderstanding, just like the other couples. But this is y'all are purposely doing he said, she said.
Like, someone is bold-faced lying here. Which one
Yes,
is it?
one of
Like,
you is. Yeah.
let's get the lie detector test out here, which is what we should have done. Is really just that's the only thing that's really going to satisfy me, is to get lie detector tests out here and to figure this all out, to just sort out the liars and the truth tellers, as someone said, I think one said, sort of liars and truth tellers around here.
Right.
But Claire gives
That's
her version of events of the wedding night, and she says the night after the wedding, he was going on and on about no one getting what they wanted. None of the guys got what they wanted. He said, Cameron said he wanted someone tall and slender, and she did the math. And that meant that he didn't want her, and that's offensive. I said, now, Claire, now we have seen this from Claire all season, that she is parsing things that are said and finding ways to be offended. I think it's
mhm.
it's a lot having to do with some insecurities about body issues. I think is a lot going on there. So I think in that case is a point towards Cameron, I think.
Yes. I think what would have really helped us as an audience is if any of this was caught on camera, right?
Yeah,
Like any of this, any of this
totally.
bold face lying, because then we would know, like something that was caught on camera that the couple doesn't know about. Whether it's the Nest camera in the thing or early in the season, like when Brennan and Emily were caught on camera and they didn't realize they were being filmed. Because then we would see how does the person actually react when it is a
Mhm.
lie.
Yeah, I
Because then
think
we could be able to say like, oh, okay, the way that Claire has reacted to that's not a lie, or she's being dramatic.
you see that her eye twitched. That's a lie.
Right. It's just so hard to say. Like, I don't know if you're flabbergasted that he's telling the truth or you're flabbergasted that
Yes,
he's just bold-faced lying.
because the thing about the boyfriend, Claire like almost jumps out of her seat because she's
Yeah.
so, oh my god, like I'm just like, are
Like,
you
like, are you,
what is this?
oh, it could easily be, we agreed not to say that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I can't believe that we promised each other not to ever reveal that. Or, oh my gosh, I never said that. Why are you just bold-faced lying?
yeah,
Just
you
like,
can't
I
I
have
can't
no
read it. I
idea.
can't read it. Yeah, so we also find out that, well, this is what Claire says. On the way home from the honeymoon, he texted her and said he had a way out of this if she wants. Now Cameron jumped on this. He said, right. I said, if you want, meaning I didn't want it. I just wanted to see if you wanted it. And
I have
at
come
that
up
moment,
with
I was
this
like,
master plan. If you want, I actually want to stay in the marriage and I actually want to see this through. But I have actually thought out a plan, an extra strategy for you if you want it.
now, Cameron, you know this is some BS, right, Cameron? Like this is the problem. Like if you're not willing to own up to your own stuff, like we're gonna have issues because you don't text someone that unless you want out. Like that's the thing. You text this because you want out. Like I was just seeing if you wanted it. Like I didn't.
Right.
I was just checking. I was just seeing maybe if you
Right.
wanted to get out of this marriage. I maybe had a way out of it.
Like, we have plans to go get ice cream. I really want to go.
Gabby, here she go again, Gabby, with the ice cream.
But then I text Gabby and I'm like, hey, I have a great way for us to not go if you don't want. But I'm sitting here looking forward to it. That makes no sense.
It was just like, we could just say we don't want to get ice cream. Like we don't have,
Right.
we don't have to come up with a master plan to figure out how not to get ice cream. We can just say we decide we don't want to get ice cream anymore, and
'Cause-
we're just like, that's it. I don't understand what the purpose or the need was of
Yes.
this plan. Why did you need a plan?
Same.
Why can't you just like? I think it
Say
was
I'm
all
not
about.
into it.
Yeah, I think it was all about they don't want to look bad because they don't want to say I don't find her attractive. I mean, that's the whole thing with Brennan, with Cameron, maybe with Austin. We don't know. The whole thing was like, I didn't want to look like a bad guy because I said that I don't like how she looked. Like they don't like the optics of that, I guess, or I don't like this person as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that was the whole conceit of this. I feel like they really outsmarted themselves here with this whole coming up with the master plan thing because they really just. First of all, you weren't really fooling anyone. Like we can
see through
see
that.
through this.
Yes.
Especially since you have on the actual episode, you are Cameron and Claire are deciding to divorce at the same time, saying that this is the most amazing person I've ever met. And then after the episode, after the party, you're totally trashing each other.
Yes.
It's like this was just not this. We could see through this. This was the dumbest idea anyone's ever had. So I don't know. I think this would have been better being honest and saying, she's not my cup of tea. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't know what is in the water what was in the water in Denver at this time.
Maybe all the time. Because listen, I'm watching Seeking Sister Wife.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 of those family units, can't even say they're couples, because all 3 of those family units out of 5 are all take place in Colorado. What's going on in Colorado, y'all? Is it the thin air? Is that what's doing it? Is it affecting you guys? Like what's up in Colorado? I don't know.
I can't. I just don't understand like the whole idea of this. Like why like this is marriage.
Mm-hmm.
What are y'all not thinking about your lives? Like why is this being seen as this whole ordeal that you have to deal with, that you have to navigate your way through? Aren't you trying to find a spouse for life? Like,
Listen, they're just not taking it seriously. They're not taking it serious like they should have. They didn't take it seriously at all. The men, especially, of course, just didn't take it seriously. They, especially with Cam, I feel like with Cam and Claire, they just saw each other and was like, this isn't going to work. They didn't even bother to really get to know each other. They were out day 2, basically.
Yeah. What was with day 2? Good Lord.
That Thunder conversation just totally tanked them.
Listen, maybe it's just where we are today. Like this swipe culture. Yes, as a society, this swipe culture, like there's I matched with this person. They said one thing, they didn't respond within 5 minutes. So next person, next. It's just like you have an
unlimited pool of people to pick from. So you can be less, you can really be way more picky than you ever were because you're able to meet an infinite number of people. So if you see one thing wrong with someone, you're ready to throw them back in the pool and try another one on your swiping app.
What will it take? What needs to change?
I don't know. Listen, all I'm gonna say, I'm glad I'm out the game. I'm glad I retired my jersey.
Don't brag about it.
I don't gotta worry about it no more. So y'all do whatever y'all want.
Some of us are just have our toes dipped in the pool, and that's as much as we could take.
Yeah. So Cameron, it's just more back and forth about Cameron saying, Cameron says she's kept saying she wasn't attracted to me. She says she is attracted, and it's like you never said that. Well, you never said that. It's just really a lot of back and forth.
I thought it was funny when Cameron was like, she tasked me with figuring out how to make it seem like we're not attracted to each other, and I went along with it for all those reasons. And then Becca like, and he's like, what? And she's like, that's exactly what you did to her. He said, now do you understand gaslighting? He said he's evil. He's evil.
the slams that Cameron gives is top notch. Okay,
Diabolical.
This man is a super villain if you ever see one. So really, Cameron and Claire back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay,
Oh,
I don't want to
gosh.
get up. Oh, and so okay, I didn't want to get into all the nitty gritty, but I feel like we have to hit this point.
Yes.
Cameron says Claire tasked him with making it plausible why they wouldn't work out. She tasked him with that. You got to figure out why we aren't going to work out. And so Cameron says that's when I came up with the ingenious plan of the difference of religion. She told me that she didn't even care about religion, but that's what we came up with. And honestly, Claire's just like, yep. I was like, oh, you're admitting to this, Claire.
Yep,
Okay.
we did try that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why it's like the truth just keeps slipping out. Like, I was just like, wait, you're not denying that.
Kevin was like, so none of that was real? She's like, nope, it was never authentic. It was all fake. I was like, wow. Whew. Claire's again, just like she was controlled. She was controlled. It was all the narrative that Cameron wanted. She is putting this all at Cameron's feet. She's not, she's barely taking any accountability. So Kevin turns to Michael. He's like, so Michael, what do you think watching all this? Mike says, honestly, it's very heartbreaking. And he basically tells Chloe, I hope I never made you feel this way towards me. I would never want you to feel this type of emotion towards me. Just basically gestures this. I don't want you to feel this towards me. Just gestures to everyone.
Which is way more than what the other guys could say. They don't care if those girls feel that way about them.
And Kevin, who expertly throws jabs out there every now and then, well, Kevin says, well, you still didn't tell her why you said no, but we'll talk about that later. Becca's like, well, you guys don't feel that way talking to Michael and Chloe because you guys came in at a different time. You didn't come in when we were all strategizing on how to get this. Like, okay, yeah, because if they were there, they would have been like, yep, we're going right along with this. That's
right. Yep, we need our way out. What's the plan? How do we get out of this?
Like y'all as a cast, imagine that as a cast, a whole gaggle of people, 8 people are like, wow, this isn't really working out for any of us. Let's figure out a way out of this.
That's why this season took so long to come out. They said, do we even want to put this out there? This was a mess.
You just imagine this, everyone be like, yeah, let's figure out a way out of it. So I don't think it was a way out of this, right? I think it was just a way of
getting
how can we not showcase the bad parts of us, right? I don't think they all were set on divorce at that time. I think they were all just like, how can we make this look the best way that possible? I think was the thing. I think it's getting misconstrued as like, how can we divorce and not show the real us? I think it was like, how can we show the best parts of us? We're not gonna get into any fights on camera. We're not gonna, disparage each other on camera. I think that was the biggest gist of it. But I think as far as Cameron and Claire were concerned, it was like
fabricating.
This ain't gonna work, and we gotta figure out how we can ditch this thing early.
Yeah.
Oh man. But Kevin then turns his attention to Austin and Becca. She says, so Becca, for you, what was real and what was not? Becca says, oh, I don't really know. I question myself what was real and what was not. And she was just doing what Austin asked her to do. I said, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Kevin says, Austin, is that true? Did you lead her to lie? He says, no, I thought we were in this together. He says, I wanted marriage. I wanted a wife. Becca says, you wanted me as wife? You wanted me to be married to me? He says, yeah. He does confirm. He says, yes, I was definitely attracted to Becca. He says, I'm not attracted to Becca anymore. After that happened, she's like, oh, thank you.
He made that very clear.
Yeah, thank you for confirming that, Austin. It's like, I don't like her as no more, but well, that's it. But yeah, that was the whole group dynamic, which was probably the most chaotic of the segments. I think it turned into it several times, just like the Charlie Brown voices that you hear from the adults, like the just talking over each other the whole time.
And this was only the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, that it was like we definitely got a good show up front. I will say that.
Yes, because a lot of it moving forward is a repetitive it's it's repetitive with the topics, but kind of going a little bit deeper. We did get a segment of Emily backstage saying Brendan does not deserve her. He's a 1 and she's a 10. She's
Yeah.
a 10.
We got these interstitials all throughout the show of them like back. They would do this thing as if it was part of the commercial breaks, and they would do the Married at First Sight card again. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Right. Inside look. And then Cameron was like, it's perfect gaslighting. He's like explaining what perfect gaslighting is to Brennan. He's like, because if she accuses you, you can't accuse right back.
Perfect, right? You two diabolical masterminds are just
yeah. So then we got our Cameron and Claire segment. So just them, as if we needed more of them, because they were very present during the intro. So Kevin, he asked them if they thought that the marriage was viable after the first night. Cameron said yes, and then she said yes, and she thinks that the experts chose very well. And she said she was attracted at the wedding, but then the day after, she started to pull away because he said he asked for somebody that was tall and slender, and he didn't get that. Right? So we heard her say that already, right? And so she's like, even he woke up and said, "Oh, I forgot you were even there." And so she felt invisible.
I think we even saw that moment, like where he's like, "Oh, I didn't even realize you were there." Like, I think we saw that on the honeymoon.
I mean,
and I honestly didn't clock it as passive aggressive. I just thought he was
right.
Like,
I didn't either.
I'm not used to someone being in the bed with me. I just
feel like I do that even the first morning on vacation. I'd be like, "Oh, I forgot I was here.
Where am I right now?"
Right? I forgot I wasn't in my bed. And so I feel like because of everything else and because she was looking for these things to see if he wasn't attracted to her, she was grabbing onto this other stuff and was like, "Oh, there's another reason that supports this other stuff." And so he says he doesn't understand why she isn't just telling the truth. And he said that he specifically said he wanted someone that was European and slender. And then he said she spent like 30 minutes asking what he meant by slender. And she's like, "Well, yeah, because I needed clarification." Oh, so you're saying y'all did have different definitions of slender.
I want to know what you mean by European, aka not black. I mean, okay,
yeah, that's what that meant.
All right, Cam.
Right. I was like, I was specific.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get a flashback to after party, where Cameron was saying that he was attracted to. I was like, okay, after party flashbacks.
We are like in Inception. We're like watching a clip. We're watching a clip of someone else watching a clip. Like, what the heck? What are you doing around here?
I know. I was like, I don't even wrap my head around this. We are watching Claire watch the show.
It's like in one of those funhouse mirrors. Like you see just a cascade of mirrors. Just like you see clips inside of clips inside of clips inside of clips.
Yes. And so we're watching Claire watch Cameron talk about how he's attracted to her. Then it cuts to Claire at after party is like shocked because she's like, "You never told me this." Then we get back to the reunion. We keep waking up, and now we're back at the reunion.
There are 3 Claires here. There's a present Claire. There's a past Claire. There's even a further past Claire. Like,
right.
3 generations of Claire here. The only differentiation is the dark hair of the present Claire. That's how we know we're back in the present.
I know. And so then Kevin, he asks, I was about to say Brennan, Cameron, why he didn't tell her like that he was attracted. He's like, "I told her day one. And I always told her. And she told me to stop giving her compliments." And she was like, "Well, because the stuff you would say is like, you like my butt. And that's all you would say. Like, like I could hear that from like any random guy." He's like, "But I'm your husband." I'm the one saying it. He's like, "Wouldn't you want to hear that from your husband?"
And we did see him definitely in the honeymoon stage of him saying things. He did I think at the time we were like, he's not saying the exact thing that Claire wants to hear, which is
exactly,
you are beautiful, radiant. I forgot what he said at one point where it was just like, you look like, what did he say? He's like, "I'm into you," or something like that. Something to let her know that he's attracted to her. And we were like, you see it right there. I even think on an after party, they showed her that. She's like, "Oh, I didn't even realize that was going on. Yeah, crazy because you're looking for specific things. If you don't get those specific things, you're tripping.
Yeah. So he said even on the 4th day of the honeymoon, he said he thought he was falling for her, and she told him, "Don't say that."
I'm with Cameron. Why won't you just be honest that
Yeah.
you did not like this man? Because we saw it the whole time. He got her flowers when he had to come back from getting whatever in his ear checked, and she gave
Mm-hmm.
him a side hug. It's like, oh, thanks, buddy. Thanks for the flowers, guy.
Right.
Big guy. Like, you obviously were not into this man, and I
Right.
guess now she's saying that whole thing was because of the Slender comment. She had become
She
turned
was
off,
pulling away,
unattracted. Yeah.
yeah. Because even in the intro, or like in that first segment, when he was when Emily was trying to say he was pulling away, he was like, "Because I was with somebody who didn't want to be with me." Like, what you expect? And so Kevin asked Claire if she had ever visited him when he was going through his heart situation. She was like, "Yes." And Cameron was like, "No." She
Whoa.
canceled every time. And then
He
so
almost yelled. He almost was like,
yes,
it's like, no, I'm not gonna let you sit here and lie. I was like, oh, whoa.
yes. He said your energy was stressing me out, and or she said that he texted her.
He
Claire
said, she
said
said.
that yeah, Claire said that Cameron texted her, "Your energy is stressing me out. I don't need it." And she's like, "Then I tried to call you like 5 times, and you never answered." 5. If you can count,
3 times
that's
on
not that much.
camera.
Right.
It's
That's not that
proof.
much effort. That's not that much effort. Don't put a number on it.
So the vibe I got from this was that she said she was going to show up, and then she said she's not going to show up. So she kept, being wishy washy. Cameron's like, listen, I don't. You keep
Like
being
keep
wishy
it.
washy. Just I don't need it. Like keep it if you're going to be doing that. I don't need it.
So she starts crying, and then turns to Cameron. He's like, "Are you okay? Because I know you shouldn't be getting all riled up." And Cameron whispered, "I'll survive, Kev."
Cameron is like the most condescending. Like I'll survive. Like
I'm like,
all
"You're
right,
the one who
damn.
said you would."
I'm just trying to check up on you, my man. Jeez, you gotta get a sassy ass attitude with me. Ken was about to punch somebody in this reunion, okay? And the worst is not even yet to come because we got more next week. Why is he getting sassy with Kevin?
I know. I'll survive, Kev. He's looking out for you. You're the one who said you went through something with your heart, and you
cast is
can't
so
get a
rude.
certain your heart rate up.
This is a rude cast. We got people starting with Rudy.
Disrespectful.
We got people starting with
Honestly,
Kevin. We got people starting with Pia. Like they so rude.
so rude. So rude. So rude. I can't.
I'll
Because
survive.
I'll survive, Kev. Like,
Take a stink ass attitude somewhere else, man.
right.
Yeah.
Ooh. So we do get a flashback of them deciding at dinner that they wanted to get a divorce, right? And Kev was like, was that real or was it an act? She was like, it was all planned.
I said, damn.
Right.
Even the 1, 2, 3 was planned.
Right. I mean, so I don't know how real these are, but there were some text threads, some text screenshots on Reddit. And one part was of this where Claire and Cameron were it's supposedly Claire's screenshots of Claire's phone with her conversations with Cameron. And she was saying, "Hey, so what should we do about dinner tonight? Lauren is gonna tell us that her and Orion have, are done." And Cameron's like, "Yeah, we should just go ahead and say like we got a divorce or we're getting a divorce." And so I don't know. I don't know how much credibility there is to that.
Listen,
I feel
these
like if
were
it was like screenshots from Claire's story,
yeah.
then we know.
These were anonymous sources that sent these to the infamous MAFS fan, who is the spoiler person out there for Married at First Sight, for those who don't know. But I don't know if just don't know what to believe, because anyone can doctor up a text phone screen to make anything look like anything. I got
We
a
could
bunch
do
of
that. I could
I
change
got
your name in my phone right
no,
now to Cameron.
I got a bunch of screenshots that are setting up Asia for stuff in case I need them. Okay. I got fake text to conversations in case I gotta, in case she gets out of pocket. Okay.
Oh my
So
god.
anyone can do that. So I don't know what to believe.
Yeah. So apparently this was planned. And so Cameron says the divorce part was real, but he was just having to stick with the plan that Claire wanted. And
Like
so
we're being WWE actors. Like we're
right.
studying the plot lines, the storylines.
We've
Like
been joking all season about Brennan sticking to the
yes,
script.
yes, and there was a script. Like,
There was a script.
Cameron even at one point said she didn't commit. Like he did all this and she never committed with me. I was committed to the bit and she just wouldn't go. She would not read her lines.
Right? She kept laughing.
Yeah, breaking character.
And so Kevin was like, okay, so the whole thing was deception. And Claire's just like, I just wish I would not have, done that. And Cameron just goes on about how there were moments where he just got a glimpse. Like after they said they were going to get a divorce, there were moments he got glimpses of like, this is good, right? He said it was like a few weeks later and it was something that he could look back on and be like, okay, this was a good time. And he starts to wonder like what could have been. He was like, and he's like, he starts to think there are a lot of things that had to happen in order for me to marry her. Like there are so many things that lined up for me to marry Claire. And Cam's like, wait, so do you want to try again? He's like, I want to start fresh with an opportunity to try again.
I said, what?
Diabolical. This man is setting her up. This is my opinion. He is setting her up so that she has to be the bad guy and be like, no, I don't want you. I don't want this situation.
I think this is a miscalculation on Cam's part. Because I do agree with you. He wanted to, have this scenario where he looks like he wants to try and she shuts him down. So he looks like the good guy. No, because this doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Like y'all have trashed each other for weeks, for months. And now
not even as long as 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. You were just up here talking about, y'all calling each other liars and all this stuff. And now you want to get back to it doesn't make sense, Cam. Like you've gone too far at this point. This is just there's no logic behind this. Because no person in their right mind would agree to want to start fresh with you right now after all of this back and forth you just had.
Literally. And so he is setting her up. She's appalled at this moment. And so she was right. So was pretty much, I bet 99% of people watching. And so she said 6 weeks ago, he called her a sociopath and then said he's still in love with her.
I said, hold on. Still in love? When did we never got to love?
When did you start being in love?
Yeah. What are you talking about, my man? Like, see, this is where Cam loses me. This is where he totally lost me. I said, okay. Because Cam was our hero for a while, and now it's just like, okay, you on some BS too. Like you got issues yourself. So I don't even know what. Cameron,
he just slow. Yeah, we've been so pro Cam. He was slowly losing me, like gradually throughout this, and so maybe quickly, not even slowly. And so. She was like, if you actually loved me, you would have treated me differently. And I just don't have enough trust for him. And Cameron's like, can we earn that trust?
No.
Cameron.
No.
What are you doing? Stop. You start telling the truth. And so Karen asked Claire, like, does she feel like she's being manipulated right now? She said, yes. She feels like he's controlling her right now. And she feels like if he did love her, he would be treating her differently off camera. And so Kev is like, okay, how do we move forward? She's like, she's feels like if they were to get back together, it would be taking so many steps back. And so Cameron's like, yeah, it sucks that you've been dragging me along these past couple of months.
I feel like there's a story here that we're not getting.
I feel always.
I feel like there's a gap between the last time we saw them on the show and now where a lot of stuff has happened. They've apparently been in a lot of contact. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what
last couple of months.
Yeah, you were dragging me along last couple months. Like, what does that mean? I need to know a little more.
Right. So Kev's like, okay, let's stop going back at each other.
Here comes Peacemaker Kev. Here comes. Can't we all just get along, Kev? Like,
stop fighting, please.
Yeah.
He's like, so what have you been up to, Claire? She's about to graduate with her master's next week. She's going to spend a lot of time with family and friends. she is seeing someone right now and she's happy. Kevin goes, why did you just say that to him?
Why did you just say that then? Like,
We just had to go through this whole him asking you to try again, and you like, no, it'd be taking too many steps back. No, you actually are in a relationship.
if I'm Mr. Man at home, I'd be like, so
Like,
if he
you didn't cut
treated you
that
a little
off
more
right.
spicy, you just would have dropped me for him? Like, that's what you're saying?
You're like, yeah, no. And so that was weird. And so then we learned that Cam now has a job in finance. So
What happened to the bike shop? I thought that was a thing we were doing. Like, what it's just gone?
yeah, I guess. And so Kevin says, do y'all want to say anything nice in parting? And so Cam's like, yeah, like I know we've gone through a lot, but I really do hope the best for you, even if it's not with me.
Well,
And
before this, he says, well, I want to say something nice, but it seems like whenever I say anything nice, I get called manipulative. Cameron, now you're just being petty.
Yes, he's been petty for this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, she thinks that there were glimpses where she was really getting to know him at his core, but she doesn't think he's a horrible human being, and she does wish him the best. Then we end their segment in the hallway. Cameron is talking to Brennan, his partner in crime. He's like, they have all the confidence to say whatever BS they want to say. That's us. You are a master manipulator, because what was that show you just put on? And now you mad. What was that? What was that?
I think what I have taken out of this is that both Cameron and Claire are trifling with the
Yes.
capital T. Y'all both are terrible. Y'all both suck. Y'all both try to manipulate each other, manipulate us, manipulate your cast members. Y'all are trifling with a capital T, and that's just where I leave it. Like, y'all, neither one of y'all win in this. Yeah,
Yes.
wash your hands. You're done.
Draw.
I
What
do
you
like
call
how.
it? Is it a draw?
Huh?
In boxing, is it a draw? When no
Yeah.
winner, no conclusive winner.
No contest or something. Yeah, no, it's a no contest, I think, is what it is. But I do like how Kevin ends the segment. Like, okay, so we can put all this behind us, right? No more bitterness, no more being mad at each other. I said until y'all get them back out on stage with each other.
Right.
They
They're
both
not
said, yeah.
done.
They're both like, yeah, we're moving on from this. No more bitterness. I said, okay, you say that now, but I feel like on a preview, I seen some more yelling. So
I know. You see Cameron tearing up, almost crying.
So it seems like y'all
what
forgot.
prompted that?
Seems like y'all forgot this pact. Okay, so
Right.
this is a mighty short pact about no more bitterness, but okay.
Right.
All right. So now we have I think the segment that let me down the most, I think. We now get the Becca and Austin segment.
Because of Austin?
Just because of what was covered, what was not covered, all that.
Okay.
So they come out, Kevin, so all right, y'all. So what was real and what wasn't real? I feel like he asked this again. Like, he already asked Becca this question. Becca again says, well, that's a tough question. It's hard to differentiate what was real and what was fake. Kevin says, well, you did admit that you were in on this whole cast pact. She says, yeah, but that was kind of like us. It was supposed to be us versus everyone else. But then Austin started lying to me and I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. Kevin says, well, it was obvious there was a connection and things were going well at first. And then he shows us a flashback to their 1 month anniversary of them being all, happy and schmoopy and kissy. Kevin says,
It has to be so hard to watch.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Props to Austin, who did not wear a backwards hat for this reading.
Right.
Good job, Austin.
You know you wanted to.
You were able to pry the hat off your head for a day. So Kevin says, so was that stuff that we just saw real? They say yes, that was real. Becca says, I just feel like at every turn now the ladies have to bring up something. She's like, yeah, it was, but I did protect him because after that we did have an argument and I didn't talk about it on camera. He says, and actually for that scene, I had to drag kind of the, Austin energy out of him for filming. This is very much like a tennis match. Kevin hears what someone has to say and he turns to the other person. So what do you have to say about that? Like,
Yeah.
she said this. What you got to say now? Like,
Yeah.
like so much back and forth.
A rebuttal?
Yeah, basically. So Austin, do you want to respond to that? Was that real? Did she have to drag it out of you? He says, no, like I was always myself. It was never an act on camera. I don't act in a way it's not me. He says, I respect Becca's viewpoint, but from what I remember that day, it was a great day. But he does say, listen, filming does take a lot of effort, time, and energy. And you're also still trying to lead a normal life, like having a job and all that stuff. Kevin says, yeah, I get that, but they're there to document your lives. And he says, so Becca, you say he's different off camera and on camera. What do you mean by that? And Becca kind of says what she's been saying. He said, he says on camera he's going to work on the intimacy, but off camera he doesn't work on it at all. It was okay. She says she wanted to pretend that things were normal, but she says he wanted her to pretend that things were normal. He says no. He says I just didn't want to talk about everything on camera, but when you asked me to talk about things on camera, I said okay. She says, well, it wasn't exactly that easy. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. We're really just kind of nitpicking at this point.
For sure.
And then we get to the topic of intimacy. Kevin asked Austin, so why is it the intimacy never went to that level? He said, Austin says he wasn't avoiding intimacy. It's just that the sexual connection didn't happen at the same rate as it did for Becca. I was like, oh, there wasn't no rate at all for you, my brother, because you just want to try to make it happen.
Right.
Austin says, well, we did acknowledge that that was an issue, but then after that, it just added anxiety to something that with intimacy, it should just be natural and shouldn't be forced upon someone. And she says she wasn't looking for just physical connection, but emotional intimacy as well. And then we get another after party moment. Love how much after party is being brought up because it needs to be addressed. Where Austin tells Rudy that he usually has a 3 to 6 month timeline on sexual activity. And he says, well, I mean, she asked me to put a number on it, so I did. It's not a hard and fast rule. Becca says, well, I asked you the same thing that Rudy just asked you, and I never got a number. I never got an answer like that. She says, if I had gotten that answer, I never would have pressured you like I did. And all I was doing was following the carrot that you were dangling. And very valid.
Very valid.
Extremely valid. Because if he was just upfront and just said, listen, it's not going to happen. It's not like, no matter what you do, it's not going to happen for me until these cameras go away, probably. Because he's going to work on it.
Did that feel too strong for him to be like 3 to 6 months to her? Because that means we're saying yes on decision day.
Without test driving the car, as you would say, some people would say. But I would also wonder.
But they did that anyway.
Yeah, but it was a very hesitant yes from Becca.
Yeah.
But I would wonder if Austin was trying to push himself past his comfort zone, but it just wasn't happening because of the kind of the shrunken down timeline of this 8 weeks. Was he trying to push himself, or was he just lying and being like, I'm just not going to try at all? I'm telling you I'm going to try, but I'm just not going to.
I think it's the latter, because he keeps going back to, which she makes the point of, it was just intimacy. It wasn't even just sex. It was any physical intimacy. Because he's like, physical intimacy. Showing those little things every day to build up to eventually getting there, but putting his arm around her, making these subtle advances, not like, okay, it's time to cuddle, but just showing her you desire her in these different physical ways is what she was saying she wasn't getting. So how is that? How is the experts asking him about this stuff? How is that making him push himself further away from it if he wanted to? I just think he didn't want to. And I don't know if he could. I know we've said a lot, okay, Austin's a child, but I don't know if he can just put his finger on what it was. Was it a physical?
He definitely can't. Can't put his finger on much. Okay,
Pastor Cal snuck out. It's like the Nutty Professor.
I go down out of camera. And I come up with some glasses on, like Pastor Cal in a
And
ball
no
cap.
hair.
Yeah. I was like, and they're convulsing. Like I disappear out of frame and I come back like Stephen Urkel, Stefan Urkel. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's literally what that looked like. Oh, it sounded like. So I don't know. I just feel like he can't articulate what it was. Like maybe if you just need an emotional connection before you go there, just say that. Like why? I mean,
I feel like he said that. I think he did say that throughout the time, but I just think if you have it in your mind that, okay, I know that this isn't going to happen, you need to say that. You need to speak up. You need to say what you're comfortable with. I think Austin's thing is that, and it's something I kind of realized in this thing with what Becca said. I think Austin's a people pleaser. I think
for sure.
he wants to tell people what they want to hear. Like when the experts say you need to do this, he's like, yeah, I'll definitely do it, no problem. Even though he's extremely uncomfortable with doing it, so that it ends up not happening. So and I think it's hard to answer to Becca because he's there with Becca all the time, and he can't do what she wants because he's not comfortable with it. I think if he was just totally upfront, totally like it's not going to happen. Now, would Becca be okay with that? I don't know. I don't know in the real time if she had said,
yes, it very well could have been a situation where he just said it's not going to happen. He's not even giving me a chance for it to happen.
Right.
Because it's so easy to say after,
Yeah,
after
of course she's saying if you had said that, I would have been okay, and
yes.
I wouldn't have pressured you. I do like the fact she said she was pressuring him. Like, I wouldn't have pressured you. Like, oh,
right.
You're just admitting you're pressuring him. This is okay.
I wouldn't have been a pusher. Okay.
Yeah. I would have been trying to push myself on you. I would have been trying to put on lingerie, trying to get you in bed. Yeah. But yeah, she does say you're dangling the carrot, and she brings up this thing that I think they may even mention this on After Party when it happened. So that they were hugging in the kitchen making dinner, and he called her, he said, "Get off me, horny girl." And she also brings up she wanted to shower with bathing suits on after a hot tub night, and he would even say no to that. So I mean, it just seems like Austin is very, very like prudish,
because this is off-camera stuff, right? Yeah. Like, so you would think, oh, okay, all these excuses, like, okay, I'm modest on camera, but this is now what's your excuse?
Yeah, it's not even being nervous about performing on camera, these like intimate things. This is like just y'all too. Yeah,
this is
for sure
alone time. So I don't know. I just feel, and then of course this whole segment, he was very much so, I'm not trying to be arguing. I'm not trying to go back.
Right.
He's like, one thing I'm not about to do is go back and forth.
That's what you're here for. Okay. Give us what we want. Like, argue.
Why'd you show up? You should have phoned it in.
Right. He basically says, well, there are two sides to every story. So what is your side?
So what's your side?
You're not telling us what your side is, my man. Like, what is your viewpoint of what's happening? He doesn't really give us that. He says, he feels like they had emotional intimacy. She says, yeah, when I had to lead it, when I had to force it, otherwise you wouldn't have even given that. Austin says, well, I mean, we kissed and we made out and we cuddled and other stuff. Maybe not every night, but we were physically into each other. It just takes a while for him to get there. To give himself to someone sexually. And they never got there because they got hit with a wedge, when things were going good. Kevin says, so what was the wedge? Austin says the wedge was when they kept getting pressure and questions. What he doesn't say is from the experts, which is basically what it was.
Right.
Then Becca says, no, the wedge was when you went out with the producer and then lied to me about it, which he just goes, fair. That's all you have to say.
Because he admitted even on After Party that he lied. He just straight up lied because he didn't think it would be a big deal.
My thing is like that wasn't the wedge. Like the wedge happened
way before that. Y'all weren't happy before that.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of
reluctantly said yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of editing of their stories here. Like a lot of retelling of things that weren't real for Emily, for Becca, for all the women, honestly.
You're like, we were perfectly fine until at the pizza party.
Oh, you Brendan said too. Brennan too. We'll talk about that later. But
Yes.
what are you talking about? And so here's
It's
what
like I
really,
wish they didn't have these things, these moments to hang on to, because what else would they say?
right, exactly. And so we talk about the producer, and Kevin says, "Yeah, you felt that she was interjecting in your relationship." Becca says, "Yep," and then they just totally drop it. I said, that was like number 3 on my list of things I wanted to get down to the bottom to. What's going on with this producer? Why was this an issue?
Was this a gradual thing? Were there other moments of y'all having conversation that Becca was uncomfortable with?
Right, but we just totally drop it. I was like, that's what I was looking forward to. Come on,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted. Becca says she wasn't invited to the outing, and then he lied about it. Austin I just didn't think it would be an issue. He says, I acknowledge my mistake and I'm very sorry about it. It just seems like no matter how much Austin apologizes, he's never going to get, absolved of this, which is fine because he did mess up.
Because he did, and has he properly apologized for it?
It made me, who were we talking about? Was it a season or so ago when we were like, he doesn't apologize and he's confronted and made to apologize? Was it Ben on that? And that's Ben and Morgan.
Oh,
That season
maybe.
where we're like, yeah, the thing is he doesn't apologize until he's forced to apologize. Maybe it's the thing about us. Like he didn't reach out to her and apologize on his own.
Right. Yeah.
Kevin says, well, listen, man, it kind of, at times it looked like you just saw her suffering and just didn't really care. Austin says, oh, well, I am so sorry that you were suffering. Becca says, well, it was kind of just your plan anyway to get through this, say yes on D-Day, and then we figure it out later. Austin says, no, that's not what happened. I wanted to get remarried later with our friends and family. Becca says, nope, that's not true. I said, again, this is kind of like we're talking about two way different things here.
Yeah.
Like, which was it? You were just going to say yes no matter what, or you wanted to get remarried later? I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but okay. Moving on. We don't talk about that anymore.
Right.
Becca says, listen, we were never the people for each other. You weren't it for me. I wasn't it for you. She says he has a lot of growing to do, and he's just not ready to marry to someone like her. I said, okay, cool. Kevin asked, so what was at the core of y'all's breakup? Becca says, it's basically he didn't make me a priority, and he made other people priorities over me. Kevin says, who he's getting screamed at by a producer in the control room. Ask them if they're going to get back. Ask them if there's a possibility to get back together. Ask them. He has to ask every couple. So Kevin says, so is there a possibility that there's a way that you can reconcile? She says, no, there's really no way. No chance of reconciliation. She is not his person, and he knows that. And she needs someone that's going to desire her and put her first, and to be honest with her, because Austin's a dirty liar. So Kevin looks at Austin and says, so Austin, be real. Like, were you relieved when it ended that you could just kind of walk away from this? Austin says, no, he really wanted them to work. He knows he didn't do the best job of it. But he knows they've gone their separate ways, and that's just what it's going to be. Becca says, well, if you had worked for it, maybe your priority, maybe we could have made something happen. Okay,
right.
Okay, Becca. Becca's off the chain now. She's coming at him.
She got hyped. What happened was all the ladies in pink got real hyped up off that first segment.
Real.
And so they went into then like in between commercials, they're rubbing each other's shoulders like, you got this. Go out there, kill it.
They were locker room pep talks. They're like, oh, ready to just get out there and get them. Like Claire's giving the pregame speech. She's giving it like and then you're gonna hit him with this. And
then she has her water. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't forget.
Got it.
Optics.
Yeah. Then they break.
Yeah. Pink ladies on 3. What? Meanwhile, Chloe's on a couch, like just looking at him, like
on her phone in another room.
That was so shady, so telling when we get to that part. Like it was like, okay, we can tell what the vibe is. But yes, Becca says, listen, if you would have worked for it, maybe priority, maybe we could have, made it work. Kevin then gets the update and everybody. Becca says, she's not seeing anybody, but then Kevin's like, but you are taking care of yourself, right? What does that mean? She's like, yes, I am. Austin says he's not dating anyone specifically. He has gone on a couple of dates. He says he does hope that at some point him and Becca can be in a place where they can just kind of sit down and talk and, just not have any animosity. Becca says, yeah, I don't know about that. I still don't trust you. It's going to take a few years before we can get there. I said, dang, years, y'all. Kevin says,
2
listen,
to 3 years.
Yeah, 2 to 3 years. That's insane. Kevin says, listen, I thank you guys for coming out here. Says, I feel like there was a little bit of honesty, but we didn't really get down to the bottom of anything. This is your chance to be up front, and you didn't take it. Kevin's just about to go out into like another commercial break.
He's, about to put his cards down, wrapping up.
I says, hold on now. I am offended. I am being called dishonest, and I feel like that's not right. Excuse me. Did I ask you to speak? I was just getting ready to throw into commercial break. Now you want to pop up and then start.
Now you got something to say?
Crazy? Look here. He says, I know you think I just come out here with my little cards in my hands and I don't know what's going on. He says, but I know what's going on. He says, I am a part of this process and I'm giving you guys an opportunity to put it all on the table. I says, oh, well, yeah, thanks for giving us the opportunity. I said, oh, excuse me.
Another side, just no respect for the people putting on this program.
Mr. Man, excuse me. Yo, I was like, why are you getting all up?
Why are y'all mad? Why is it y'all against the show? Why did you sign up? Why did you sign up?
That's the question, right? Because you're signed for a reality show. Earlier, Brandon's like, I didn't want them to twist the narrative. No matter what you give them, the producers are going to twist the narrative into whatever they want it. So there's no point. You might as well just come in here and be real.
They just acted like they forced them to do this against their will. They said, you're going to be matched.
Yes.
I just plucked you out of the middle of nowhere in Denver, and you're going to be matched with Emily.
Like, we kidnapped you off the street. Like, and we pulled up in a van and just put you inside. Said, you get married tomorrow. Deal with it. So we get a little behind the scenes after Austin and Becca got off the stage. Austin and Becca go into like a room by themselves, and then we come back to them and they're holding each other.
And he's crying?
Yeah, he's like, thank you for giving me the space to be able to do that. So, okay. And Becca is talking to Emily and Claire. She's like, yeah, he said he thanked me for kind of like for not going as hard on him as I could have. I said, alrighty then. Y'all are
right. I was like, what?
Y'all are weird. Okay. But that was the Becca and Austin segment, which was interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah. It was. We left out a lot. I mean, well, like they left out a lot to dig into. They didn't even get back to religion.
Right.
Like, okay, forget the producer. Okay. Also, y'all had differences in religion.
How religious are you? Scale of 1 to 10, because I'm confused.
The last time you went to church.
Right, because his little friend earlier in the season was like, we didn't even talk about religion, so I don't know where this came from. So,
it's like, Austin, when is the last time you took communion?
When's the last time you've been to church? Did you go to church last Sunday? Like, when are you an Easter and a Christmas person? Like, what's going on a scale of that to I'll go every Sunday? I'm a deacon. What is it?
Right. Deacon Austin.
Mm-hmm.
So the next
passing around the church plate.
Right. The next segment we got was Michael and Chloe. So Kev is like, okay, so what were your first impressions of each other? And Michael said he was really hoping for someone who radiated and was sweet, and he got the woman he was hoping for. Like he just felt it coming off of her. And Kevin asked, what were her first impressions? So she's like, oh, I was just so glad I didn't pick the pink dress, because there would have been a lot of pink, which we've heard that line before. Mm-hmm. And so she said she just blacked out when she was walking in the ceremony, and she just came in taking the sanctity of marriage very seriously. All that and no first impressions of Michael. It's like, okay.
Yeah, sure. Important to note, though, they were sitting together on the same couch.
Yes. It wasn't a 1v1 situation.
Yeah. Chalk that up for them. Good job, them.
Yeah. So she says this is the hardest thing she's ever done in her life. She said it was more than what she had bargained for. We get a flashback to her when they came back from the honeymoon, needing to go home. And Kevin was like, okay, what was going through your mind, Michael, when this happened? He's like, well, I just started to pick up as I got to know her that she gets more drained than I do. So I realized like this was something that she would need. And Kevin was like, well, Michael or Chloe, if Michael had asked you to stay, would you have? She's like, well, full transparency, I would have stayed because I needed to hear exactly that. But because I just didn't think that he came into this to be married. And it was like,
Boy,
wait,
I
what?
tell you, my eyes almost got stuck in the top of my head. So I was rolling them so hard when she said this. I said, now you know.
I'm like, now, Chloe.
How are you gonna try to put that on this man right now? He first of all, he don't know you at this moment. He met you 2 days ago, got married to you, so he don't know whether he can push back on you or do whatever.
You
He's
don't know
got
if you about to walk out and he's never going to see you again.
right. So how could like that is a ridiculous expectation. I feel like it's another kind of re-editing the story of like, yeah, I mean, in the moment, that's what I needed. No, in the moment, you needed to run away. That's what you
Yeah.
wanted, and that's what you expressed.
Yes. And so she was like, well, what happened was they had just gotten married. They were sitting in the car and she was like, oh, what's my new last name? And he was like, oh, don't worry about it. There's not going to be any reason for you to have to change your last name. And so, and Michael looked kind of confused, like, wait, I don't remember that happening like that.
Mm.
And so she was like, and then the other thing was finding out that his mom didn't know. And I just tried to look past it. And then Michael's like, well, like, I don't recall stating it like that, like with the last name thing. I was just kind of saying, like, this is my last name. You could hyphenate it. You could do whatever you want. You don't have to take my last name. And that actually sounds like what it was. Like,
Yeah,
now,
I think that's probably what it was.
Michael, like, he
Yeah,
definitely was giving her you have the power of choice. Okay.
you are a strong,
Don't feel that you have to
indep-
take my last
you are a
name.
strong, independent, fierce woman. You do whatever the hell you want with your name. I
He
have no
said, I could
control
take your name.
over you and your body and your name, my sweet goddess, princess, queen. Okay, I'm just a simple man. I have no dominion over you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't dare think that I had some control over you and your name.
And your name. That's your name is your name. Don't let anybody take your name away.
Definitely sounds like a Michael thing to do.
Yeah. So I was like, now that we've seen Michael in action, that definitely does feel accurate. But his version of events. But then he says for the mom point, it's like it's not like he didn't tell it wasn't that he wasn't telling his family. He told his family. He just didn't tell his mother.
I didn't tell the most important person in my family. I
Right.
told the extended family, just the most important person I didn't tell.
Right. And he said he felt
He acted like she was a distant aunt. He's like, I just have a chance to text her. Like, no, that's your mama, okay?
He said when they talked about it, he felt like Chloe had supported it. And she was like, she was just supporting him from a cultural perspective. But it wasn't until his no on decision day that she just started to question everything.
It's at this point I realize I think this is the nicest fight I've ever seen. I feel like y'all are low key beefing right now, but you're doing it in the most positive, nicest way, which definitely tracks with the two of them.
The ladies in pink are like, oh, come on, pick it
She's
up.
not really digging into him hard enough.
Raise your voice.
Get your decibel level up. Because he's like, I mean, if I had known that it was an issue, we would have talked about it. I just didn't think that she was, placating me or giving me lip service. She's like, well, actually, I don't think I was giving you lip service. I think I was being, culturally respectful. Like, are we having a nice fight right now? Is that what we're doing?
Like literally, like legs touching, sitting close, just talking the softest voice.
Interweaving fingers, like, well, sweetheart, if I just thought you were being fake as hell, I would have maybe, actually, broached the subject a little more, but you were just being fake. So I didn't realize that at the time that you were just able to lie to my face like that. Honey, sweet pie.
Oh. But yeah, with Chloe saying she didn't start questioning this until his no at decision day, I'm like, girl, why do you keep having to be prompted to think about how you actually feel about stuff?
Listen, you know Dr. P is in the back like, I said it. Didn't I say it? You're fake. You're fake. You're inauthentic. You were had a problem with it the whole time, and you're going to sit up and tell me that you were offended because I'll call you inauthentic. I called it. I called it. You know Dr. P is in the back just going off right now.
It's like, so then Kevin asks, okay, when did doubt start to creep in for you, Michael? And he's like, a little bit before their 1 month. She's like, look, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Just say it. And he's like, look, I didn't have a list that I could pinpoint with her specifically. I just didn't want to try to go beyond decision day because I didn't feel like we built a strong enough foundation to go beyond decision day. And she was like, he came in committed. She felt like he came in committed enough to go through the process, but not enough to go beyond decision day.
I think that's
And so,
valid. I think that's
yes,
a valid criticism
yes.
to hurl at Michael.
Right, for sure. Because that is definitely what it feels like. Like once it got real, like, oh my gosh, decision day means like we're gonna continue past that. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Or if it's just like if I'm not feeling it at this date and time, I'm going to say no. Like it was a binary choice. Like he wasn't really thinking about it. Like at the time that this TV show has given me,
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes or no. Like because I'm just going to go with how I'm feeling in the moment and not think about what could be in the future.
Yeah. So Michael does say he should have been more transparent about like when he was struggling, and that is a regret of his. And Kevin was like, do you regret saying no on decision day? He's like, I do regret saying no. Like, I wish I was in a place to say yes on decision day.
So the answer is no.
I regret not being in a place to say yes.
So the answer is no. I don't regret it. all you have to say, Michael.
How did he spin? That was a great spin.
That was a good spin.
He got it in there. Oh,
that was
yes,
classic Michael spin. Classic Michael spin.
I regret not being in a place to say yes on decision day. And so he does regret not giving it a try on decision day, but yet we just found out he regrets it because he regrets not being able to say yes.
Again, this all could have been answered very quickly. Like, I just wasn't feeling it.
Right.
I wasn't feeling her. I wasn't feeling the relationship. That's it.
Yeah. Kevin asked, do you wish you could have had a second chance? Chloe with the he wasn't even done saying chance and said no. She said, I always say what's meant for us will never pass us. And so, you know, that no on decision day showed me our levels of commitment were in two different places, and I have no regret there. And she says she hasn't met someone else, but she is fully healed. Michael does say that he has moved on, but he's not currently dating anyone. And so Kevin's like, oh, what?
I like when Chloe's like, the next person I meet and get in a relationship with is going to be my soulmate. I said, I don't know if you really get to like choose
she
that.
Said it. She declared it.
She's so that means like just like this, she's gonna hold on for dear life. She don't care what happens. She's marrying the next person that she dates. Okay. Whether he likes it or not, she's marrying that person.
And so Kevin's like, all right, well, so what's new? And Michael's like, look, I've been practicing being an empathetic person, which I learned from her.
Oh, brother.
He said he has a new position at work. He's been traveling. Chloe has a renewed sense of self, and she doesn't feel anything but appreciation for the situation, is what she was saying. So yeah, that's Michael and Chloe.
Can you imagine having to work with Michael? Maybe like getting a report that he wrote. I had to spend all night trying to figure out what he's talking about in this report.
Every call with him goes the full time.
Oh, Lord,
he's never giving you time back.
I had to have a text-only conversation with Michael. I cannot be on the phone with him.
He's like, do you have an hour of your time so we can meet? I just don't have capacity, actually.
Send me email and I'll spend the next couple of days breaking it down.
Right.
So now we come upon the ladies segment, because it's ladies night and we're feeling right.
I'm surprised they allowed Chloe to participate on this.
Chloe, you're good. This is the moment where we got the ladies in pink getting all hyped up before their segment, dancing in the dressing room mirror, and then we just get a shot of Chloe on a couch looking at her phone. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we see the dynamic here. We understand. We get it.
Yes.
So yeah, that was very interesting. Kevin says, they also says, I feel like there's a real anger here. What is at the core of all that? Becca says, well, basically they just all felt they deserved better, and they found out that none of the men were ready for this process, ready to be married. Lauren says she's learned from this process to never give her power away, and she's realizing that she can keep that power for herself. That's it. Tell him, sister.
Mm.
Emily says for her, it's more about sadness than anger. She's sad about, what she went through, the situation, everything with Brennan. She's just sad about all of it. Claire says, she says, we weren't as truthful and living as authentic as we should have been, but now is a time for us to speak our truths. Kevin says, so what was the root cause of everyone, as he puts it, jobbing the system? Emily says, listen, the maturity level for the guys just was not there. And the ladies, we had the right mindset, but we just went along with it. We didn't feel like we had a choice. So this is where Kevin says, all right, well, listen, y'all say you're strong women. Why didn't you just tell the men that you weren't going to do that? Like, why did you just go along with it if you didn't like it or didn't want it?
I was like, ooh, those are fighting words.
I agree with Kevin here. I was like, yeah, I feel like now the women are having an issue with this because it didn't work out in their favor. I think if this had worked out in all their favors, they wouldn't have had a problem with it. Like they played the game and then the game played them. Okay. I think that was their issue with this. Otherwise, I think they were right along there with the men. I don't think that at the moment they all had these objections in the moment. I think is what they're trying to display this as being. Like they had a problem with it, they just didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Do you think this was in the moment they had that problem, or they now have a problem with this? This didn't work out in their favor.
I feel like when in the moment, like it's obviously a toxic situation because they're trying to deceive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the moment, I feel like they still were hanging on to that hope, even though they were doing this whole thing, like, oh, on camera, off camera, on camera, off camera. I feel like they still had this. Okay, well, maybe we are going to work it. Like this could actually work off camera. Like we're doing this for the show or whatever. But then when we're off camera, like we could actually make something happen. But what they missed was the guys' lack of desire to continue in these relationships. So now they feel like bamboozled because they were like, oh, I had to go along with this, and we didn't end up together. What?
And I really think the ringleaders here are Cameron and Brennan. I think they were probably the drivers of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Austin was probably just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because we know Austin. We know Austin's going to get along. He's like, yeah, sure, I'm down with that. And now Becca's like, he was in on it too. He's like, I don't, not really. Like I just said okay. Like I don't know what the problem is. So I think Cameron's thing was getting him and Claire out of this as soon as possible. Brendan was just like, yeah, I'll be totally fake on camera. I don't even think they needed to present Brendan with this plan idea. I think Brendan probably already had this in his mind.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna make sure I'm gonna try and not say anything bad on camera. That's fine with me. I'm down with that. So yeah, they say, Kevin asks if they were, do you think the men were just confused? The men didn't know what they want? Laura says, no, the goal was never to put the marriage or the wives first. She says the plain and simple of it is we got a bad batch of men. Kevin says, well, I mean, you can't put it all on the men. He says there should have been some kind of pushback. Laura says, yes, that's true. We did allow ourselves just go with the flow, and we did kind of do ourselves a disservice. So our attention then turns to the lack of
they were
physicality.
Like we let them do that. Yeah, that's on us. They're still
Yeah,
putting it on the men.
We weren't in on it at all. We just let them do their thing. Like we just said okay, yeah, sure. But yeah, Kevin brings up the lack of physicality in all their relationships besides Mike and Chloe. Becca says, yeah, at one point I definitely felt like there was a conspiracy among the men to never have sexual relationship with the women. Kevin says,
Mhm.
funny you should say that. We got some footage of your bar party, and we do see a flashback to some footage where Becca questions why there's no sex in any of the lit. This was after Decision Day, the bar meeting after D-Day.
Yeah.
And she says, it's weird that there was no sex among any of us. And she says, is there some kind of conspiracy? And of course, the guy's like, no, of course not. And Becca says, oh yeah, well, let me see the men's group chat. You just see like blank faces of all the men.
Like cut it off
Like
immediately.
you definitely don't want to see that group chat. There was a conspiracy about sex, but there's some stuff in there that y'all don't want to see. Like, because we was talking about y'all, so we will not show you that.
Right. There were
Um,
some not so nice things.
I'm 100% sure. Becca says, it's hard to really articulate the situation, and they're all just kind of confused as to why none of that happened. Kevin says, y'all really telling me that nothing went on behind the scenes, nothing.
Mhm.
As I said, Kevin, of any season, I don't question there was nothing going on. Like I believe there was not a thing going, because typically we're just like,
You're
did
like,
they
maybe
have
it
sex
happened.
earlier? Yeah, no,
No,
definitely
there's
not.
genuine hatred in the air.
Hate, yes, there's just hatred. They say no, definitely not. Chloe says, I mean, truthfully, my mentality coming into this was you can't decide to continue the marriage without some sexual, intimacy. She says, so that's what she just went with, and she just thought everybody kind of felt that way. Becca says, listen, I don't want to belittle anyone for having a different speed of intimacy, but most of these guys weren't even open to emotional intimacy that could have even led to physical intimacy. And when you're rejected time and time again without reason, it really messes with you. Emily says, looking back, they are happy that they didn't consummate any of these marriages, because it would have been another thing in the way of the healing journey. Kevin asks Emily, so Emily, did you think the thing was going to be different after your accident? Emily says she felt really vulnerable after the accident, and they both, she and Brennan may have both caused some feelings. I said, both of y'all? I don't know about both of y'all. She says it was
Brendan's
definitely,
like, oh, I wish she was stop bringing me into this.
yeah, stop speaking for me and my feelings. She says it was definitely a mind effort, and he used her accent to make himself look good, and she is happy that wasn't successful. She just starts to get really emotional, and Claire, for some reason, who was sitting next to Emily, gets up and sits on the
Sits
the
on the
arm
arm of
the
the
arm
chair.
of Emily's chair to comfort her. I was like, okay, that's a weird flex, but all right. Emily says, but all these things, the hair extensions, the accident, the wrist thing, were probably all signs from the universe that she needs to get away from this man. I said, amen. That I think that's probably definitely true. So I mean, again, Kevin tries to wrap this up. He says, all right, ladies, well, that's about it. And it's like, oh, whoa. Emily speaks up. She's like, well, we didn't cover everything. Because what else did you want to
What
talk
else did
about?
you want to talk about?
What else you got to say? And he says, well, I wanted to get to the Brendan and the Cameron thing. He says, all right, well, listen, we're definitely going to get to it in another segment.
So we'll get them all back out here again.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're all right, Emily. You're all right. Emily says also, she's like, yeah, because I didn't kick him out. I didn't kick Brennan out for texting Claire's friends or trying to go on a double date with Cameron. I kicked him out because he wasn't in the process. I said, again, I feel like we're retelling some stuff that's not really true, because I
I'm
don't think
like,
you
I think
kicked
he
Brennan out.
left. Yeah.
He dipped. So I think there's a big difference there.
When I broke up with him.
Yeah, right. Okay, Emily. Sure.
Okay.
That's our ladies night segment.
It was at this point in the commercial break. We got a
Mhm.
poll question.
Yo.
And we get these poll questions,
I'm glad you
right?
brought that up.
It said, if you are single, how would you navigate dating today? It said the options were like dating apps, meeting the old fashioned way or something like that. And then the option that had the most responses was I wouldn't, which is I wouldn't navigate dating today. Tell me what, because they pre-record this Rudy
Yep.
stuff. And so it says, okay, if you are single, how would you navigate dating today? It shows the answers is I wouldn't. She says, for sure.
That's crazy. It's giving very much Dora the Explorer. Can you help me find the color blue?
I'm like, y'all can't do different
Good
reactions based
job.
on what the results are. Like, wow, wasn't expecting that.
Didn't have time. Wow, y'all picked A? That's crazy. At least like
He said, for sure.
for sure. Like, okay.
I said,
Sheesh.
what?
I said the same exact thing. I said that is crazy. That is so that's kind of just lazy on their part.
Yeah.
Like y'all
And
could
I
take the
never
extra
got
5
that
minutes.
part.
Y'all
I
could take
just
the extra
got
5 minutes to go through the poll options. Like
right.
give some sort of like
They said there was no after
something.
party this week, so we didn't have much of her time. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she shoots those from her house. The ones that where she doesn't have an after party, she just is in like her living room or something. I don't know. It was crazy.
She said, I give you a minute tops.
Wow, that's crazy. The most canned response ever.
So the last segment we got was Emily and Brennan, which is really just an intro to their segment. Because I was like, there's not much time left. I was like, okay, we're not getting all of their segment. So before they walk out, Emily is flipping Brennan off behind his back as they walk down the hall.
She's so mature. She's such a positive person. How could anyone say she's ever negative? I thought it was also interesting. The guys are in the dressing room before this, and he's like Austin, who again more maybe acting. He's like, the girls are really still very hurt. Then Brennan goes, yeah, they're just looking for someone to blame. Like, okay, we see Austin's, Brennan's temperament before his segment. We see where he's coming from.
Right. It's kind of like Austin has continued the optics standpoint. Like he is really concerned about how this is going to make him look.
I care so much about Becca's feelings. I hope she's not mad at me. I love that she gave me a hug. You see through you, Austin.
But then Brennan and Cameron are just mad.
No,
They
Brennan
don't
Cameron,
care.
they have dropped all the pretense. They're just like, no,
Cameron,
F them.
now you know
F
what it's like to be gaslit.
F everybody around here. Like they are through. They're
They're
sick
on
of it.
a revenge tour. So Emily and Brennan, so she's flipping him off and they're walking down the hallway. Kevin's like, all right, so I really want y'all to have a chance to hash things out. Brennan's like, ultimately, we are not a match. We have differences in our lifestyles. We have differences in what we want. And
Brennan,
when
that's all you had to say, bro. From day one. All you had to say. And we would have you'd have been fine. I feel like this is the most honest he's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And he found a way to say it that wasn't being
hurtful.
a D-bag.
Yes.
So that's all you had to do. That's
Just
it.
state the facts.
Ugh.
So he's like, when he felt that the experts didn't match him well, that's when he stopped trusting the process. So that's the very beginning.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't blame you. I mean,
right. He said she is who she is, and it just isn't for him. All while he's saying all of these things, she has a rebuttal for she is throwing herself. Me? Yeah, me. So she is so mad that he's saying this, which is just like, Emily, don't prove his point. No. Don't prove why he didn't say this.
She says, you were excited by getting me? By getting Emily? Queen Emily? How dare you? I said, oh, Emily is this. I said this in a Facebook group. I said, it should be so easy to sympathize with Emily. Mm-hmm. He treated her like garbage the whole season, but she is not doing herself any favors by acting like a brat the whole time.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, to continue to be like, yeah, Brennan is awful. It's just like there becomes a point where like, okay, yes, he is awful. We've acknowledged that. Y'all just aren't right for each other. So what are you fighting for at this point? What are you trying to get out of this?
It's just too much at a point. Like after everything he says, she has to have some smart, sassy comeback. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, it's getting a little bitter and petty at this point. Like it's not a good look for you at a certain point.
Yeah, so she told him like he would punish her if she didn't do something right and reward her if she did something right. Like they could have lunch if she did stuff right, or he tried to delete.
I definitely believe that.
Yeah. Like, okay, that matched. See, because it's like, okay, the shoe fits in a lot of these cases on both sides.
Yeah.
And so Kevin, he's like, well, okay, so y'all had some, y'all had a lot of expert visits. And she's like, oh, I love the expert visits.
Emily, let the conversation breathe for a minute. Just be cool. Be cool.
Right. She said, no dead air.
Yeah.
And Kevin was like, Brennan, so why were you so resistant to having like an open conversation with Dr. Pia? He's like, well, I was too concerned with how it would make Emily feel. And that was my first time in therapy. And she's just making all these faces.
I made a
And
face too. I said, Brennan, you back on your BS. You back on your BS now. Because listen, that's not true. Not true.
He said he does apologize about the Dr. Pia situation. And he said he misunderstood the intent.
Okay.
And so he's like, what? She's like, well, what are you even apologizing for? You don't even know what you're apologizing for. She was like, you always say like you're protecting me and you like you were my protection, and now protection is a trigger word for me. And so
it's like, oh well, my parents taught me to never be mean to someone. All right. You lay all those things.
he said his parents raised him to not hurt people. She
Laying
said,
all
well, you
now.
hurt me. She said, you manipulated me. And he was like, well, it's hard to believe that you think I'm a bad person because when Pastor Cal came, you had 10 nice things to say about me. And then we get a flashback to her reading these detailed descriptions of these 10 things she likes about Brennan.
Listen, I mean, proofs of the pudding. That's true, Emily. That's true.
No, she was hanging on to a thread, though. She had no reason to just be like, oh, he's all this, he's all that. He wasn't giving her anything.
And, I also don't like the vibe this gives of like, I don't know. It's like, well, I mean, she had a problem with it when this was happening before. Like, why is she all of a sudden piping up
that
now?
doesn't make it right.
Yeah, it's not a good vibe there. Obviously, she was trying to spark good feelings and emotions here by doing this. So it doesn't necessarily mean she didn't think bad things because she was able to dig around and find good things to say about you.
Yeah.
When I think his thing was like, she's fun, she's bright. I think he had like 3 things when he asked about for 10. I think that was that conversation they had.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely I don't like the vibe of what he's saying.
Like the point he's trying to make. Yeah. He said the only thing that changed was a malicious rumor that tore us apart. And so Kevin was like, oh, so like the double date thing. And she was like, rumors, plural. He's like, so more than one. Oh, yes, that's what plural means.
There was some recognition on Brennan's face, like, oh, that one. Yeah. I think this is going to be a nothing burger. I think it's going to be nothing at all.
This is our cliffhanger heading into part 2. They needed something to interrupt their segment to go into part 2. So we'll see. I think the real juice of part 2 is going to be Lauren and Cameron. I mean, Lauren and Orion, and then hearing from the experts. Because I just feel, for some reason, like we're going to get the Pastor Cal being over it and so disappointed in people. I feel like Dr. P is going to be honest.
And Dr. Pepper will also be there.
Yeah, she will be there. She will be in attendance.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see. And then I don't even know where we can go from here with the where are they now? Why?
So
y'all did this in December. It's April. We'll check your Instagram.
Well, I'm sure we're going to get the where are they now is going to be from December too. It's probably going to be right after the reunion.
Yeah, so like last night.
It's going to be 5 months old. Like this isn't where are they now anymore. This is where they were. Like
where were they?
Yeah, where were they at? So yeah, so we still have Lauren and Onion and the rest of
the guy
Brennan
segment
and Emily. We have the guy segment, and then we have everyone back together again
with
to argue some more. Yeah, with the experts. I don't know what the experts can say to really move me. I just think it's going to be more, tisking at the couples because they came up with this plot. I think it's going to be the main thrust of what the expert, segment's going to be.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So we will be back next week. We may or may not have a special guest, so stay tuned. And yeah, I think that's a wrap for the reunion part 1.
Yeah.
Jason, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at JAYR1085. Got kind of a new podcast venture I've set out on with one of my freaking co-hosts over on the Poster Recaps you know,
You have other
podcast network.
co-hosts?
Yeah. A frequent collaborator on the PSR, RIP PSR, which is no more. But we decided to actually kind of go out on our own kind of thing. So something that Marissa Garza and I kind of talked about when we were doing our other shows, that we found out we both have an interest in the Good Wife universe, the Goodiverse, as we would call it. So we're actually,
and I had no idea there was one.
there's Good Wife, Good Fight, and now there's a show Elsbeth, which is a new show, a spin-off character from The Good Wife. So Marissa and I are going to do a podcast talking about that show. It's a 10 episode first season. We talked about the first 3 episodes because they came out with this weird release schedule, so it ended up us talking about the first 3 episodes for podcast 1. It's called The Good Pod. So if you watched Elsbeth, if you're into that kind of thing, it's kind of like, it's more a procedural vibe than any other like serialized thing. It's an interesting little show. Elsbeth is a
Does
very,
it have any relation to The Good Place?
no, none.
Oh, see, that's
Nothing.
confusing.
see that don't make no sense. I know why y'all did that. Why you made The Good Wife, The Good Fight, and then The Good Place ain't part of that. That make no sense. Anyway, the podcast is called The Good Pod. You can get it on Spotify, on Apple. I assume you can get it every other place too. So if you're into that thing, go check us out. Had fun talking about the first 3 episodes. So that's where you can find me in the podcast streets nowadays.
That's exciting. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, just a little something, you know. Nothing big.
Right. Well, y'all can find me on all social media at Aysha like Aysha. That's AYSHA like ASIA. And we will be back next week to talk about reunion part 2. And then we'll talk about where are they now the week after. And somehow, some way, we will have concluded our coverage of season 17 of Married at First Sight, which we started in October.
What a long journey. Oh, gosh.
Oh my goodness. I can't. It's just so hard to wrap my head around the fact that we've been talking about this show for that long. This season, not even this show, this season. Our first podcast for season 17 was October 19th. For real. Whew, okay.
Almost 6 months.
I just had to sit on that for a second.
Over 6 months is going to be, right?
They love to do it to us. What shows are on for 6 months? Good Lord.
Not even 90 Day does that anymore.
Yeah. They just hit you with the back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for sticking with us. Make sure you go join the Facebook group at A Perfect Match Podcast, where the password this week is Stick with the Plan. Make sure you go leave us a 5-star rating and review. We really appreciate it. But until next week, we'll see you then. Bye.